I wanted to treat myself to a super premium pair of shoes, so I bought these. What's happening, Panda Nation? Peter Von Panda here. I have a super premium pair of shoes. I want to tell you a quick story of why I sought out a premium pair of shoes. I have never owned a super premium pair of shoes. Probably the most expensive thing I ever owned were leather wingtips or something like that I bought at Nordstrom's, you know, but maybe in the $100 or $150 range. And then I was watching some YouTube videos of guys who resole shoes, cobblers as you might call them, and they do resoles of shoes that might be $1,000. And they even restore some shoes. And I was thinking, well, geez, I didn't realize shoes get that expensive. And I thought, you know what? I want to treat myself to just the most expensive pair of shoes that I can find. And guess what? I had no idea that you could spend $3,000 or $4,000 on a pair of shoes. So I am not doing that. But I did find this company, and I think it is pronounced Guidomaggi, something like that. But they are an Italian company. Even this box has like an alligator skin type of texture to it. And they make some super high-end shoes. From casual shoes to sneakers to loafers to wingtips to boat shoes. I mean, they just make a ton of stuff for guys and girls. And honestly, they have some stuff up there that is $2,000 or $3,000. Everything is priced in euros, so I'm doing some conversion in my head. But I was thinking, $3,000 for a pair of shoes? All right, I'm not as successful as I thought I was, so I'm not doing that. But these pair of shoes are still some of the most expensive shoes I've ever owned. But this pair of shoes is still the most expensive pair of shoes I've ever owned, and they are sneakers. So, spoiler alert, these are a $500 pair of shoes, and I am super excited to try them out, and we are going to beat these things around. Now, you might be saying, Pete, why would you spend a crazy amount of money on a pair of shoes? And forever, I have bought, as you've seen on this channel, $15, $20 pairs of cheap shoes. In fact, when the Starburys were out, which were by Stephen Marbury or something, and they were all $15 a pair, I love those. So I thought, what would a premium pair of shoes be like? And not only that, but you can get some features in expensive shoes that you can't just get in cheap shoes off the rack. First of all, as I open this up, I am already overwhelmed with the smell of premium leather. I mean, that just smells fantastic. They are wrapped up super nicely, and they are also what you might consider elevator shoes. So what you can see here is that I have a really thick sole on these. Now, I'm not the tallest guy in the world. I've always kind of wished I were a little taller. Not huge, because then I can't fit into an F-16 jet. But what this will allow me to do is have a little bit more height, a little bit more presence. In fact, I really wish Guido Maggi made golf shoes, because one of the things that I struggle with, being a shorter guy, I actually don't have the club length to get the club head speed that some guys get. Actually, taller golfers have a lot more advantage there. But just in the world of like business and things, the stats show that the taller you are, the better looking you are, the more successful you are. And I really think it's just about having a certain amount of presence. Now, I can't fix this, but these might help me fix this, right? So what you can see here is that this is a suede, and it's not suede-like, I don't think. I think this is suede. Now, I didn't get them in blue for my blue suede shoes. But I did get them in this really gorgeous, timeless, formal black. Now, they are stuffed with paper there, and I want to show you, man, even the rubber down here seems a little different. I'm used to this being some sort of like cheap foam, you know, even that foam that you can even see the texture of, but it's really sealed in there. And obviously we have some really cool, almost lava-like tread pattern right on there. But man, dude, it just feels more premium. And the material up here is just crazy. Look at that. I mean, you can see the brush strokes as I work along the grain there. But man, that is just nice. I tell you what, dude, that smells so good. If you've ever walked into a leather store or something, you know what I'm talking about. Dude, that smells just amazing. In fact, even the outside areas here are also suede. Now, it looks like we have a little bit of elastic there because these are kind of loafer-like, so you can just get into them really easily. And we have the name brand right there. And this sole right here also looks like it is leather. But man, you can see, I'm going to pull this out. But you can see we have a very tall sole right there. So I want to show you that the sole right here goes right up to there. And then if I put this other sole right there, look at that. This is probably going to give me, I think, 2 inches. Now, just look inside there. And this is what I really like. You've got this kind of leather bottom right there. You can see that we have the stitching. I mean, it is really truly stitched all the way around there. And those are the videos that I've been watching from shoe restoration and cobbler companies that really do just a fantastic job. And look at this. Even this sole here is, like I said, this is a piece of cut leather that's folded. I think this is like steamed and pressed, but you can see how thick that is. And then the heel here is a separate piece, and again, glued on there. You know, there's just a lot of workmanship in a shoe that is a premium shoe, I guess. So these are beautiful looking, I think, because they're not overly formal. I'm not a real formal guy, but I thought, man, would this give me a couple extra inches to make myself look even more imposing and impressive over what I already am? And will they be comfortable, and will they last, and are they worth $500? So let's put them on and see what they do for me. As I go ahead and put these on, I just want to show you, man, they just slip on so nicely. And I will show you here, man, they lift you up. So I've been walking around in these here for the first time for a little bit, and I will tell you what, I have never been taller. In fact, I think that Tom Cruise often wears platform shoes. Now, he's actually technically a little shorter than me, and this is a way to add some height. Guido Maggi, regular shoes, no shoes. And I think if the sole were black here, it would be even a little bit more subtle, but I really like the two-tone color. I mean, I've got shorts on, I've got my low Puma socks on, and these look perfect. I mean, they look like normal shoes that I would wear around, and they feel really comfortable. I will say, initially, what you have to realize here is that, one, you're standing quite a bit higher off the ground, so that's a little bit different. I almost feel like my center of gravity is a little higher, which it is. That white sole actually adds height in the toe and the heel, but that inner sole adds height under the heel. So what you get here is a little bit of this feeling like the toe is sliding down, so it really pushes you up against the front edge. Now, I think people that wear high heels are feeling this effect to an extreme, and I don't feel like that, but you do feel like you are being lifted up, almost standing on your toes a little bit. But obviously, this is super comfortable. Those soles are perfectly matched to my feet here, and so I don't feel like I am loose or out of control. I just feel like I am much higher. As I'm walking around, even though it's only a couple inches higher, I just feel like I'm seeing everything from a little bit different perspective. Now, one of the things that I want to do here is just wear these all day long for a few days and see what my long-term thoughts are. All right, guys, I'm out walking around and I've got my Guidomaggis on, and they are just really easy to walk around in. I've actually been wearing these for the past couple weeks here, and I will tell you, I love them. First of all, you know, this is just the style of them. They are kind of like a slip-on, and so that is really super comfortable because you can actually just put them on and tear them off really quickly. So if you are someone that wants to, it's starting to rain here. First of all, there are kind of two different thoughts. Thoughts about elevator shoes, as well as thoughts about these particular shoes being a very high-end shoe. So first of all, the elevator shoes thing is no joke, and I would say that for the first day or two, it takes a little while to get used to being so much higher than you are in regular shoes. What it feels like is like you're standing on something. Even your gait and your walk, everything is a little bit different. Most of my shoes are probably 1 inch. Maybe the total lift is actually less than just the sole on these particular shoes, but I would say by day 3, you are kind of beyond it. Now, one of the things that you kind of have to keep in mind is that when you roll your feet on the ground, you're at a different height, and so that's going to be a little different. Walking on stairs, any place where you are just used to that stability you get when your foot is really close to the floor, that's something that kind of has to be relearned. It's not something that's really different. It's not something that takes a lot of time, but even things like moving my seat back in my car because I don't need to be as close to the pedals as I once was, those are all little changes that you have to take into account when you're wearing these elevator shoes. Now, the real benefit of these is that I think if you are someone of maybe small stature and you just want some height, as I mentioned, the stats have shown that, especially in the workplace, there are a lot of things that go with additional height. And so if you want a little bit of height, to increase your presence, this is something that you could certainly do. If you're someone of small stature that just wants to be maybe of a more normal height, you could certainly invest in these and get that. Now, I would say that the elevator shoe thing is going to be something of a personal opinion. Now, for me, as someone who is a little bit of an average height guy, everything from pant inseams to driving go-karts are all kind of made for people that are a little bit taller than me, so it's nice to have a little bit of extra height. And maybe if I had started my career wearing these, I would have been further along too. Now let me talk about these particular shoes and my experience with them. As you can see here, this is representative of about 1 month's worth of wear on them, and I wanted to really wear these and break them in because I was really kind of curious, a premium set of shoes, what do you get for that? Now I will say, I actually was recording some video outside wearing these shoes and I got caught in torrential rain. Now, as I mentioned here, this is a suede, and I was actually mortified that the shoes were getting wet and this material was going to be ruined. But what you can see here is that this looks great. In fact, you don't get any of that matting or that knotting that you might expect when suede gets into water. So I'm not sure exactly how they do this, but this looks as good as it's ever looked. It's just a little bit dirty from wearing them all the time. Even the white around here still looks like it's in really nice condition. Only the soles are really showing some of that dark wear here. Now, I will also say here that these have got to be the most comfortable shoes I have ever worn. And I would say that I probably have never owned a pair of shoes with so many layers of hand-stitched leather. Now, between all the extra material that goes in here to make them elevator shoes, I am guessing that you have just a ton of insulation between you and the ground. And so I can tell you that walking on rough terrain, on stone, on uneven ground, man, they are just super comfortable. One, any of the sharp edges or rocks or anything that you step on don't telegraph all the way to the foot. And so they're actually super, super comfortable. That also might be from having just some really high-end materials like these leather insoles there. So what are my final thoughts on a $500 pair of shoes? One, you can get used to and spoiled, to be honest, by the extra height. I just tended to look a little bit better proportioned. For me, it's very easy to look very short-legged, and something like this actually helps me quite a bit. This is also a fantastic shoe because it kind of bridges the gap between casual and formal. You can certainly wear these in the workplace because the material is just beautiful, but you can also just wear these with a pair of cargo shorts and a t-shirt and you don't stick out either. So really, really awesome. If you go to this website and you go to this company, you can find pretty much a shoe for your situation. They have some beautiful formal shoes. Again, they aren't going to be cheap. They have shoes that go into the thousands of dollars, which just absolutely blows my mind. But if you want a great pair of shoes that have no compromise, that are super durable, that give you extra height, that are made out of premium materials, oh, this suede smells so good and is so soft. It's just like me after a shower with Irish Spring. Other than the fact that you are going to have to skip your payment on your Infinity QX50 this month, these are worth every penny. You know you've made it when you have a premium pair of shoes. So everyone should have one, and I have one, and they're gonna have to last me a lifetime. Hey, if you want to pick these up or check out the other awesome offerings from Guido Maggi, I will put a link to them in the description below. Peter Von Panda, out.
We can discover more and explore so much deeper. We can live better than ever thanks to Peter Von Panda. Peter Von Panda.
I want to